it's like people take little signs and they think they're so big. You know, they really mean something to them. So this guy was relentless as well.
So this is somebody that we came up to you, got an autograph or something, and then twisted, you're actually saying hello to him into you're in love with me?
He approached me. We had a mutual friend. He told me he had a project he wanted to discuss with me. And the friend that he said he knew was very credible. So I gave him my information, and then he just took that and ran with it and thought I was the one.
Wow. I want to remind people that David and Danielle, the case we're hooking the story on, met at work when David was already married. They allegedly started the affair, and at one point, David offered to leave his wife for his mistress. Take a look at this. Here is his wedding announcement from the New York Times. So, Romany, I mean, just because the guy's married doesn't mean he's immune to love addiction, which is really what I think started this, is it not?
No,
Something like that?
Yeah, and mental illness doesn't know that you're married. I mean, the fact is that this kind of behavior has a lot to do with misreading social cues. It could have to do with frank psychosis. It can also be associated with certain kinds of personality disorders, where if a person feels abandoned, they simply can't tolerate it and will do anything in their power to get that person back, even if it means risking everything they've got, and they just don't know how to work their way through it.
And Wendy, this is an area of specialization for you. You're dealing with people that engage in these behaviors all the time. Can you help us understand, you know, the spectrum of what this is and how serious it is?
Well, it's very serious. The suspect in the criminal aspect often misreads or misinterprets what their object of their desire,
it's called a victim,
the victim is feeling for them. In my arena, there's two types of cases: the jilted ex-lover, and
which is sort of this one we talked about tonight.
Yes.
And
then I also have the cases where it's complete strangers. A lot of the celebrity cases, the suspect misreads what they see in a movie, what they see in an autograph, a smile, as you said, and takes that to another level where they believe that they're destined to be with that person.
Now, that latter case, isn't that go into the zone of what we call psychotic stalking, where they really are sort of not connected to reality? It can get really wild sometimes.
Absolutely.
Ramana, you're saying yes. Tell me about that.
That form of delusional disorder, it's actually called de Clerambault's disorder, where a person actually believes they have a true relationship with a famous person, engaging in a correspondence with them, even though there's nothing back, and they really believe it. And sometimes they're able to function quite normally in their lives while keeping this very bizarre space around this one famous person.
That's the part I think people have trouble hanging their hat on. It's like this guy that was the investment banker. Look, listen to some of the other things this guy is accused of doing. His ex says he sent her 100, this is ex meaning the victim, 176 text messages and 23 emails over the course of just 16 hours. Sounds a little manic too, Romney.
Yes, yes.
She says he used an old key to enter her apartment. He collapsed in front of her at Heathrow Airport. She believes, of course, he was faking that. I think he was claimed to have a heart attack. He flew to London to follow her 4 times, and he's accused of breaching his bail by following her to a restaurant the night before his court date. The United Kingdom court banned him from contacting the victim if he's in the UK, but has no power to stop contacting him from contacting her in America. Wendy, is this also sort of common that they, even after the court has put down some structure, they still can't contain it?
Oh, absolutely. We were talking earlier about the restraining orders. And in terms of a criminal case, a restraining order is the best thing for a criminal case in terms of the prosecution, to show that the victim does not want to have contact with that person. However, in reality, oftentimes restraining orders do not work.
Because they keep going.
Yes.
But now, do most of these people, once you say get a case and take it to court, do they go to prison, or do they, if they haven't done anything horrible, or do they go for treatment? And what is the sort of how does the court look at these things?
A lot of times the person is usually eligible for probation. A lot of times they don't have criminal records. So the court gives them a
chance at treatment.
Exactly. And so
do people usually embrace that? They welcome the treatment?
Yes.
They do.
A lot of the people have stopped taking medication, have never been on medication, and that's probably the best thing we can do. In other cases, I have sentenced people to state prison.
That's when they're really getting threatening or dangerous.
Dangerous, or they have done this before. They are convicted of stalking with a prior stalking. They go to prison.
Claudia, let's pull the curtain back a little bit. You and I, we've both been helped by Wendy, right?
Yes,
I was a victim of psychotic stalking, and you had somebody who was similar kind of psychotic stalking. Well, it got kind of dangerous for you, didn't it?
It did. One day, the screen was taken off my back window, and I got text messages about things that were going on in my house. So I knew he had come to my house, and he doesn't even have a car. So to go that far, and I live up in the mountains.
I mean, that must have been very frightening for you. Did you move out?
I haven't moved out yet. I was planning on moving while he was in jail, in
Oh.
prison, but I haven't done it yet. But I sleep with a knife under my bed. I do, and I had a lot of nightmares about it and a lot of anxiety and stress.
I'll tell you my story. I don't know if you know the story, Wendy, but passing a policeman got involved because there was a lot of it on the internet, my problem, even though the guy was showing up at my place of work. And my wife got involved and told the Pasadena PD, she goes, look at what he's writing here. He was talking about hurting my children. And she goes, I am not afraid to die. I am not afraid to die. I'm going to get this guy if you don't get him first. They're like, calm down, lady, calm down. Calm down. We'll take care of this. And indeed, Wendy was we appreciate what you did. It was very quick and it was very kind for the victimizer, too, the perpetrator, because they're not well. And they can get a lot better. Ramani, the outlook is actually okay for them if they follow treatment.
If they follow treatment, and if there is follow-through. I think the difficulty is the lack of follow-through. I think we might put them through one course of treatment, and then that lack of follow-up.
I have 15
get them
seconds.
back.
Is that true? They don't tend to follow through? This is for Claudia and I, whether or not we're going to sleep well tonight or not?
When I allow someone to have probation, they have to go to psychological counseling and testing.
For long periods of
for
time.
a long period of
which
time.
improves the outcome. Guys, this panel is going to stay with me because we've got something interesting coming up.